Hi everyone and welcome to video number 11. What I decided to do about my diet leading into my first chemotherapy treatment. Before I begin, I just want to say that I suppose for some reason food is quite an emotive subject. I am just going to tell you what I did and you can take what you will from it and that's it. Really. So it all started when a friend of mine recommended me this book, Your Life in Your Hands. I had been reading a number of books before I got this one, and this one just made a lot of sense to me when I read it. Jane Plant is the author. She's a scientist, a geologist. She's not a cancer specialist, but she had breast cancer. She had breast cancer 5 times, so there were 5 times that they tried to treat it, and on the 5th time she was basically told that she'd not got very long left. She had a number of lumps around her body. One particular one that she talks about was in her neck, and she decided to use her scientific knowledge and approach to finding a way through it for herself. She did a number of, she did a lot of research and then decided that she was going to take out cow's dairy from her diet. I was interested in what she did, probably more from the testimonials that were in the back of the book, where they were talking about how it had helped them through chemotherapy side effects. And that was what was really interesting me. So I decided to give it a try. So what I just did is I bought another book in her collection called The Plant Programme, and I followed the meal planner for active treatment, which is limit alcohol. So I didn't drink any alcohol, and actually once I started chemo I went off drinking, which I know for those of you who know me well, that could be quite a surprise, as I do like a good drink. Particularly gin and tonic, but I've also not drank a coffee or tea, a black tea, since doing this. If I have a coffee, I have a decaf coffee. I do have a green tea in the mornings, but I've also had to limit how much I have of that, because what I've noticed is that if I do drink green tea in the afternoon after 2 o'clock, it does keep me awake, which it never was a problem before chemo, but it is now. After the first chemotherapy treatment, I didn't quite know how I was going to feel, and I thought, if I feel really, really poorly, I want to be able to just grab something out of the fridge easily. So I decided to experiment, and I prepared as much as I could out of that meal planning week in that plant programme, and I froze it with the days of the week on, the meals that they were for. I even did that with the fruit juices, so that I had nothing to worry about in that first week after the first chemo. I noticed after my first chemo that I didn't have as bad a side effect as I expected, but I did follow the diet as I had prepared. Some of the meals were nice, some were not so nice. I worked out what I liked and what I didn't like, but I also found that following her meal planning week to the letter, there were lots and lots of ingredients and lots of different meals, which I found quite expensive to prepare using, and quite a lot of work. So over time I have made that easier for myself. But those first 2 treatments, the first 2 chemos, I did follow that diet to the letter the first week after. And then I started to experiment with other vegan meals and other cookbooks after that, so I didn't get bored of doing the same thing every time. One of the other things I nearly forgot to say is that she does recommend organic fruit and veg. I found that quite tricky because some supermarkets didn't offer all of the options that you needed. And I also found it very expensive, so I've moved away from that. I just buy normal fruit and veg, and I just make sure it's washed. On a Saturday or a Sunday, I have a cook-off, sort of recommended cookbooks that I'm using. So I use the Bosch Healthy Vegan. I use the Deliciously Ella plant-based book, and I also use Happy Veggies. So I've used those 3 books, and I basically, on a weekend, I make a soup for the week, I make a main course for the week, and I make a sweet snack for the week. I make sure that I have a good breakfast. It's usually, at the moment, it's porridge with some fruit in it, cinnamon, with a plant-based milk, or I have toast with nut butter and jam on it, or I have avocado and tomato on toast. And avocado and tomato on toast is, I absolutely love it, so I sometimes have that for lunch. And then I just interweave using my main course or my soup. I always have some vegan bread in the freezer that I can have as well, like a sort of easy meal, like a Deliciously Ella meal for one, or something like a Linda McCartney plant-based pretend fish or pretend chicken if I'm feeling the need. I must admit I haven't missed meat at all, because there is so many options. I haven't missed milk at all. Probably the only thing I've missed is cheese. I haven't missed chocolate, because there's so many different options in the supermarket. And going out to restaurants, most restaurants now offer a really good vegan meal. So it's not really been a big deal doing it at all. Health-wise, I don't know whether it's what I'm eating, but what I will tell you is that my energy levels haven't dropped that much, really. I am still walking a good 5k every day with the dog, not suffering with any toilet bowel problems, any constipation. I haven't struggled with any of that, or diarrhea since starting the chemotherapy. I haven't suffered with any issues with my taste buds. So I still can taste all foods. I had 1 week, the first week after chemo, I had a mouth ulcer, but I haven't had any sore mouth since. Slept well, always been a good sleeper, but I haven't struggled with sleep during the treatment at all. I do have hot flushes, and they are bad. That does wake me up, but I do go straight to sleep after that, unless I have had a green tea in the afternoon. Generally, I feel really good. I would honestly say that I don't feel any different to what I normally would feel if I wasn't on chemotherapy. But generally, I don't know whether the smoothness of the side effects is anything to do with the diet, but it's working for me. Water is the other thing that I've got to say about. So I drink one of these bottles before I get out of bed in the morning, and then I probably drink another 3 or 4 through the day. I drink green tea in the morning, peppermint tea in the afternoon. I also think that has massively helped, particularly with any kind of constipation or whatever. So I believe I have told you most of the key points about my diet. Nutrition is something I'm really interested in, and I have done a course years ago. I think I'm likely to go and do another course now, just to find out more about it, because it has fascinated me, and you know, I am intrigued as to see whether what I'm doing in terms of what I'm eating is making a difference to how I'm feeling. And I'm particularly interested in this when I go into my hormone treatment, and whether I can help the side effects of that with what I'm putting in terms of food into my body. So, so very, very fascinated in this subject, and I think I will do a lot more on it. If I've forgotten anything key, I will add it to the comments under this, you know, in my YouTube channel. So watch out for that. And if you do have any questions about what I've done, please add those in the comments. I am putting my weekend cook-offs on my Facebook page, so you can see what I'm making and from which cookbooks, and showing you what they look like when they're made. Anyway, I will leave it there, because I kind of think this is going to be a long video, and I will speak to you very soon.